Happy anniversary, Y&R Chat. Today is Saturday, May 26th, 2018, and 10 years ago today, on May 26th, 2008, I started chatting about Y&R. I turned on my camera and I first recorded myself talking about The Young and the Restless for the very first time, posted the video to YouTube and got your reactions for the first time, and the rest, I guess, is history. This will make the 610th video that's been posted to YouTube. It's the 393rd episode of the podcast, which debuted on December 20th, 2010. The podcast started a little bit later in the timeline of Y&R Chat, and here we are, 10 years, 10 years, a decade. It's absolutely crazy to me, but it feels like an occasion to celebrate. It feels like there should be a big cake with my face on it and the number 10, maybe a big picture of me on an easel. Maybe Kate Linder trying to elbow her way into the celebration so she can get in all of the photos. Oh, I just felt like I should do something special. It feels very special to me, and I've spent the entire morning, and really, honestly, for about the past week, musing a little bit on Y&R Chat and what it felt like and 10 years ago today, and what I, where was my headspace and what was I thinking when I decided to do this, and and what was my life like. It's an interesting milestone for me personally, as well as Y&R Chat as a project. I know that I, at the time, really just wanted to talk about Y&R in the way that I see the show. There wasn't some big grand plan for Y&R Chat to become this or that. I remember just feeling like I wanted to say the things that I wanted to say in the way that I wanted to say them, and YouTube seemed like the perfect place to do that, to just do a video series. But admittedly, I was very shy. I absolutely remember sitting down to record the first video and feeling just self-conscious about it all, just about the way that I looked, the way that I sounded, the fact that I had never really out loud said the words Victor Newman before. I'll never forget how jarring that felt, to really actually start to articulate some of the thoughts about the show that I'd had in my head for all of these years. When I started doing Y&R Chat, I had already watched the show for 15 years and had watched it mostly privately and silently, and to finally, for the first time, start saying some of the things out loud felt somewhat embarrassing and somewhat risky. I mean, it's not back in the Stone Age, 2008, but YouTube wasn't exactly what it is today. There weren't a ton of people just making videos talking about their geeky things that they enjoy, quite in the way that there is now. I mean, at any point, you could go to YouTube on any topic and there's somebody talking about it, but it wasn't exactly like that. And I remember feeling nervous that I was going to get picked on, or that people wouldn't agree with me, or that that fights were going to start or something like that. I mean, I remember feeling like it was risky to put myself out there, because again, these are sort of private thoughts that I've had about this show that I love. I didn't want to get bashed. I didn't want it to turn into anything negative, yet at the same time, I just felt the opportunity. I could just tell that there was something that could be done there. I'm sure that there are other people now who are vlogging on YouTube, but at that time there just wasn't, and so it was a space that I felt like I could fill. And now here I am 10 years later, and I never intended exactly for it. It was not something that that I had a dream for, but it really just developed along the way. It changed and it grew along the way. In the early days, it was me really close up in the camera. Sitting in my white wicker chair. I've gone through different phases of where I physically chatted. I had the old white wicker chair. I had some other different chairs that I tried to test out that just didn't feel right. They didn't feel like the Y&R Chat chair. I moved at a certain point and I was recording from my unfinished basement because by that point I was starting the podcast and I was trying to control the audio quality, but it was really cold down there in the winter and really hot down there in the summer. And I remember deciding that it kind of changed the vibe of Y&R Chat a little bit when I decided to just start doing it in my living room. But I remember feeling even self-conscious about that because I'm not Ms. Decorative. I am not great at being real homey and making things look all perfect. And so I remember feeling self-conscious that people were going to look at my house and be like, you don't even know how to decorate your house or whatever. So I mean, even that felt like a little bit of a risk, but it also feels like it over the course of 10 years, it has been little by little me inching toward making Y&R Chat more personal. I never really wanted it to be specifically about me. That was definitely part of my, my foundation was I really wanted to talk about Y&R. I never wanted to be the center, as odd as that sounds. I know that sounds weird, but I am not someone who likes to be the center of attention at all. I try to get away from that in every other area of my life. I'm not an attention-seeking person. And so I always just wanted to do this so that I could have my narrative out there, but I never wanted people to focus on me specifically. And I think little by little, just even little things like changing where I record have made the Y&R Chat feel a little bit more homey and making it feel maybe like you guys are here in my living room with me and we're just friends chatting about the show. That I think that added a layer of something extra special about it. It really wasn't until a couple of years into doing the video series that I decided to do the podcast. I could have started it out as a podcast right from the beginning. I don't know why it didn't occur to me to do it. I've always been a fan of podcasts. I listen to them regularly, but for some reason that didn't occur to me until around 2010. And now at this point, by the way, the podcast is equally as popular as the videos. And if I ever go to listen to a Y&R Chat, I go right to the podcast. I can't stand looking at myself. In the videos. So I usually go for the podcast, but that definitely boosted the community in general of Y&R Chat. It like doubled the amount of people who were interested. That prompted me, I think, to start working on the website, to have a centralized place where people could go to leave their comments and to also interact with each other. That website has gone through a couple of different iterations, but I like having that there. That also brought people in from random internetsville. So I had people were finding me through YouTube, people were finding me through the podcast, and then people through the website were just maybe Googling things about Y&R and finding what Y&R Chat was all about. And I think that it was a combination of those three avenues that really turned this into a cool community. And that's where I think it is today. I think it's actually evolved into a cool community, which was not part of my initial thinking. And I just didn't have that much forethought. I just didn't exactly know what I was doing. But somehow along the way, it's all pieced together. And it's really, I think, grown into something very special. And I know that I've really grown a lot as a result of doing it. I can certainly tell by looking back at the old videos that I have gotten a lot better with my skills as presenting and talking on camera. I don't feel as shy as I used to. You guys wouldn't believe it, but I talk more on Sunday in this chunk of an hour than I do the entire rest of the week. I am not like a super chatty, but Y&R is just something that pushes my button. It's the thing that I want to talk about, that I have opinions on. So this is like where I put all of that energy of Allie's opinions. And I think that over the course of the 10 years, I think I've done a much better job of presenting my opinions, making sure that everything is organized and that I'm staying on track with the things that I'm talking about. Again, looking back at the old videos is a little bit hard to watch, because it's taken me some time to pick up my speed and my technique and how I present Y&R Chat to you on a weekly basis. And I think that it's really benefited me just in my personal life too. I feel that some of the techniques I've picked up on, as far as somewhat of a public speaking gig, that's helped me personally too. Probably a lot of people notice that I really enunciate all of my words, and part of that is because I've tried to cut out ums and so's and wells and little things that are supposed to connect sentences together. I'm trying to make sure that it's a positive listening experience too. So not only am I juggling the visual experience of Y&R Chat, but I'm trying to make sure that it's not annoying to listen to. I hate if I notice that I've repeated a word or I'm saying a bunch of ums, and when I enunciate my words, a lot of that is just me buying little bits of time so that I don't accidentally start saying the word 100 different times, which was a problem in the early videos too. So I think that's helped me in my personal life as far as being able to talk to people and making sure that I'm clear. It's helped me in my career and in business, just being a good presenter, a good communicator. So I do appreciate Y&R for that very much. I think I've also grown as far as the technical skills it's taken to pull all of this off. I mean, there's lighting aspects. You can't see it, of course, but there is a light in the video here on the other side of the camera, so because there's no window. I mean, the light doesn't come from nowhere, and if you can't just turn on the overhead light and expect your video to look okay. And all of this are just things that I have picked up along the way, but I've got a light here that helps you see me, and it's not easy, especially moving it up to the living room, because I've got to deal with the backlights from the windows and all of that. I've really had to wing and learn. I didn't know anything about lighting, and some weeks I don't do that great of a job. Same thing with the audio. You have to control the environment so you're not getting echoes, or typically I'll turn off the air conditioning. Even in I'll turn off the air conditioning in the summer, I'll turn off the heat in the winter, and I will sit here and sweat or freeze so that the air is not on. I didn't do that today for the first time though, because it's getting to be 90 degrees and I'm just not having it. I'm treating myself to air conditioning on the recording today. Hopefully you can't hear it, but there's various little things that I have to consider as far as the audio quality, going in and actually editing the audio to make it the right format and make everything kind of equalized. That's a skill that I've had to pick up. At video editing, I don't do a whole heck of a lot to the videos. They're pretty rough cuts, but I mean, these are all things that I didn't know before that I have learned just as a result of doing Y&R Chat, and they're skills that I've been able to parlay into other parts of my life and career. And I'm just so pleased with the way that Y&R Chat has grown. I'm so pleased with the way that I've grown as a result of doing it, and nothing could possibly make me happier than knowing that you guys enjoy it too. Musing back on myself as 10 years younger, 100 pounds heavier, bad hair, all that. I mean, looking back at that, Allie, I think that there was something in me wanting to do Y&R Chat because there was something I wanted to get out of me, something I wanted to say, something I wanted to put out there. I think there was me doing it for me, but not to sound so self-sacrificial or anything, but these days as I do it and over time as I've done it, I do it for you too, because I know there are people out there who really look forward to it. I mean, enough people have told me regularly that this is part of their routine. I mean, why they want Y&R Chat for a part of their Sunday or Monday or their drive to work or whatever it is. So it's definitely evolved into me doing it for me, but also doing it for you guys, because I want you to have that. I feel like, I mean, as far as life goes, if Y&R Chat's the thing that I've done with my life, in addition to my daughter, you know, but if this is the big thing that I put out there and it's made one or two people happy and it's really it helped you get through something, maybe or maybe not, then it feels really worth it to me, and that's enough of a reason to keep going. There have definitely been some times where I don't really feel like doing it. I mean, I don't feel good every single Sunday of over the past 10 years, but just knowing that you guys enjoy it has really helped propel me toward keeping it going, and pretty quickly after I published the first set of videos, I had people coming in and saying that they liked the videos, that they agreed or disagreed, but a conversation happened pretty quickly around Y&R Chat. It didn't take long, and I know that a lot of you guys have been there with me from the very beginning, so I thought it would be a good idea to just sit down today and talk about Y&R Chat and allow myself a little bit of self-indulgence. It feels a little self-indulgent to just admit that this is the thing that I do, and to feel okay to talk about it, and to relax a little bit outside of the boundaries of the normal chat that I'm trying to make sure that I'm staying on topic about Y&R. So I decided last week to ask you guys to submit questions. If you had any questions about Y&R Chat, that I would take some questions and give some answers. And thank you to everybody who left questions. There were a lot of them, more than I was even expecting. So I'm probably not gonna have time to answer every single question, but I thought I would at least hit some highlights for you guys and give some A's to your Q's. So let's get started. I had several questions about the process of doing Y&R Chat on a weekly basis, and I thought maybe rather than just picking and choosing specific questions, I would just put it out there and explain the process from A to Z. Hopefully that's okay with you guys. It really Y&R Chat all starts with a brand new week on Monday. A lot of people asked me how I watch the show, and that has changed a lot. There have been periods where I watched the show live. There have been periods where I downloaded torrents to watch the show commercial free. But currently I am watching the show at cbs.com. Usually I like to watch Y&R after I get out of the shower. That's been fairly consistent over the 10 years. This hair takes a while to dry, so I'll sit there and watch the show with a towel on my head, or these days I'm blow drying it with headphones in and listening to the show and just getting into it. It's sort of like a me time. That's my moment. I put my lotions on and I got my hair going and I'm watching Y&R, and it's just sort of, that's an indulgent time for me. That's an Allie-centered little moment of me escaping into my world, and that's when I watch the show. That's when I do the captions. I grab the screen caps while I'm watching the show, and then after I finish an episode, I do write down a few notes, and those notes do accumulate through the week. After each episode, write my notes down, just trying to make sure that I don't forget anything major. So I will usually write down any major plot point that I don't want to forget, it helps. I didn't always do that, but I have, as I've developed along the way. It helps me keep on track, because I've found that if I don't don't know where I'm going, if I don't know like what topics I'm gonna hit, then I just ramble. So it's so much easier if I just write down, okay, well, this is a major plot point that happened. I'm gonna hit that, and then that kind of connects into this storyline. And you may have noticed that Y&R Chat moves in segments, and I do try to make sure that segment number 1 kind of connects into segment number 2. So I do take whatever major plot points, whatever notes I have, whatever highlights, and I do, prior to sitting down, think about how this connects to that and that connects to this, and how it is going to flow for the conversation. And honestly, when the show is well written, then it's very easy to organize it all. I know exactly what I'm going to say, and it's very clear that this person flows into that and that and that. So it's when the show is well done, it's very easy to see how all of the storylines fit within their unique set, and how the storylines connect out to the other parts of the show, and it makes preparations so much easier. So that's what I do throughout the week. Usually by Friday and into Saturday morning is when I'm really like smash, boom, bam, quickly trying to put my notes together and prepare for the Y&R Chat. I don't have a lot of time. It's just, you know, based on kind of what my schedule is right now with my baby. I used to have a little bit more time before my daughter was born, but now I watch Friday's show. I'm collating comments and putting notes together on Friday night, Saturday morning, and then that's all I got. Saturday is usually very, very booked up, so any preparations that I do have to happen very quickly. Collating comments is also something that I do usually Friday night or into Saturday morning. That usually does take the longest. That is simply because I like to pull out comments and group them. You may also have noticed that the comments section flows as a group. Not only do I group storylines together, but I try to connect them so that it makes sense in terms of talking about them, like you know, almost as if it's a conversation happening back and forth between you guys, when it isn't, because I'm pulling comments from the website, I'm pulling comments from voicemails, from YouTube, from Facebook. I don't look at Twitter as much anymore, but I'm pulling them together from all these different sources and trying to look at them in a way that makes sense to flow the conversation that way. And so that does take quite a bit of time, although you may be interested to know that I do that last. Comments are something that I collate at the very end, kind of because I want to make sure I'm keeping myself a little bit pure. I don't want to find myself just reiterating things that other people have said. I want to make sure that I keep, I didn't always do comments. Back in the early days, I didn't do that at all. It was just Y&R Chat, and I read your comments, and sometimes I responded, but they weren't a part of the main chat. And so in order to preserve my narrative, I always try to make sure that my thoughts are together. Like, I know what I think about something, and then I will go and pull comments and organize those in the end. And so that also makes me feel like my responses at the end to your comments when we're going through them are more natural. It's something I've seen them, but it's a good counterpoint. I think I'm able to present a better counterpoint. And then really after I have my rough outline of what I'm going to talk about, and I have your comments collated, I have to record quick. Everything at this point happens with my daughter sleeping. And if my daughter is awake, there is no way she would ever let me do this. She is clingy, clingy, clingy. She likes her mom, and she wants to have her little hands and fingers into every single thing I'm doing. So right now, Y&R Chat is happening early. It's happening fast, and it's just something that I'm cramming. But it wasn't always that way. There have been other periods where I had more time to prepare. That's just where I am now. I sit down, I record, I have the camera in front of me, I have my massive laptop right to the side of me where I'm recording the audio, and I can make sure that it's recording and looking good. And then it comes to the editing. I usually spend time editing down both the video and the audio. Then I'm uploading those gigantic files, and then there's the website work that I do. Some of the website work at this point in time happens throughout the week as I'm watching the show. You may notice if you go to yrchat.com throughout the week, I usually have every single day some screenshots posted, some photo captions or something there is new every day. It wasn't always like that. I used to do everything on Sundays, but I like having a little bit of interaction with the website and with you guys throughout the week. You know, what time I do have in order to do that. Yeah, the website stuff is kind of what happens last. I put the polls up and the Who Said It quotes and all that stuff too toward the end. And that's really the process. There's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, probably more than you would think. I put a lot of hours in. I decided to calculate out how many hours per week I spend on Y&R and Y&R Chat. Thought you guys might find that interesting. It's 5 hours of watching the show, of course, because there are 5 episodes, an hour each episode. I used to, when I downloaded the torrents, I was able to watch each episode in about 36 minutes, commercial free. It was heaven. Especially because I've got more to do than just watch the show. So having that little bit of extra time helped me a lot, but they're not flowing quite as quickly as they used to. So I'm stuck watching at CBS.com, which takes the full hour. And I gotta watch the commercials. It drags. Like, I wish I could just watch the show more condensed the way I used to, but I just don't have that luxury now. So it does take me a full 5 hours a week to get through the episode. It's about 2 hours working on the website. That includes all of the photos that I put up there, the poll, the games, any kind of extras. Anything I do at the website is about 2 hours. I spend another 2 hours per week doing pre-prep. That means putting together my notes, my thoughts, and collating those comments. It's probably like, I probably spend an hour thinking about how I'm gonna prep Y&R, and it's not necessarily concentrated. I may come and go and do this and that and then come back and have another thought about a segment and put it all together, but it is about an hour for my prep and then an hour to collate the comments, another 2 hours for recording and editing. The actual Y&R Chat ends up taking about an hour and a half. If the video or podcast runs an hour, hour 15, there's usually a good 10-15 on either end of it, of getting everything ready. And then editing takes a little bit of time, although not much. I don't do a whole heck of a lot of editing, but it does add up. And it adds up to about 11 hours a week. About 11 hours a week on Y&R and Y&R Chat. It's a part-time job. Oh, Anna asks, it seems like a lot of work doing the chat. Has there ever been a time where you seriously thought about not doing it anymore? It is a lot of work, but I can tell you with complete and total honesty, there has never been moment one where I thought about abandoning Y&R Chat. Not once. Not one time. There have been weeks where I thought, I don't really want to do it today. I'm tired, or, you know, maybe it would be nice just spending this time with my daughter or scheduling something outside of the ordinary. There have been days, but there's never been any serious consideration for not doing it. Gary asks, do you ever feel stressed because there's so much to cover? Yes. It can be stressful, and mostly because I feel like I have so little time to put forth to it these days. I only have 11 hours a week. to put together. And so then, yes, it is kind of stressful sometimes squeezing it all in. It is stressful, and also because I think I put a lot of effort into, I put as much effort in as I do because I'm worried about getting caught slipping. If you have 1,000 people tuning in to every word that you're saying and you've missed something about a scene, you're gonna get at least a portion of those people telling you you're wrong, and maybe you even knew it but forgot it in the moment. Yeah, it can be stressful. So I do try really, really hard to make sure I'm watching and that I know what happened and that I don't miss any important beats. And in and of itself, that can be a little bit stressful. But again, when the show's good, it's easier on me. It's just not as hard. Gary also has a really good question that I know you're gonna love. You're gonna love this answer. Gary asked, how do you quote someone from a voicemail? I love it. I know you're gonna love this. Here's the thing. My voicemail box, all is revealed today. My voicemail box has a transcription service. So every time you leave me a voicemail, I get an audio file of your voicemail, but it also provides me with a transcription. They've dictated it out for me. Sometimes it's not very good, but for the most part, it understands most of the words, and so I listen to my voicemails. But then if there's something particularly interesting that I want to add to the comment section, all I have to do is copy paste. Boom. Oh, I thought you guys would appreciate that. Ellen also asks, how do you do the screen grabs from the episodes, as far as the captions, the photo captions and things that I have up at the website? That's so easy also. You could do it. When I watch the show at cbs.com, or anytime I'm watching it on my computer, I watch it full screen, and then there's a key on your keyboard called print screen, and it'll take a screen cap of whatever you got on the screen. So if I've got it pulled up with full screen, I just have to hit print screen, and I get a beautiful, perfect photo of whatever I'm watching. Then I just pull that file. It's basically like you're taking a copy, and then I pull that file up in Photoshop and paste it and save it and send it out to the website, and there's the screen cap. And I've been doing so much more of that since I revamped the website, and it makes me so happy because for years I have sat there screen capping so many scenes, and I've thrown a lot of them away or chosen not to save them because I was in the past mostly just doing the funny ones, for the funny photo captions that I put up at the website. But since I redid the site, I include my extras, the things that are just interesting and important moments. I include those in the watch and chat thread. If you go there and watch and chat with us, I put all of the screen caps there. I could probably organize those a little better in the future. In fact, I'm sure of it. It probably lags down the site, but in theory, it's nice to have a library of some of the shows. We don't really get to go back and watch old episodes, so I'm happily chronicling some of these screen caps of just important moments, or maybe a pretty outfit, or whatever it is. I feel like it's going to be cool to go back and look at those someday, and I wish that I would have started doing it sooner. I've thrown away so many beautiful screen caps just because I didn't really have a place for them, and I do regret that. Ellen also asks, how'd you get these technical skills? Did you go to college, or did you have some other training, or are you self-taught? I've learned a lot of it along the way. I have come to this Y&R Chat project with some computer programming knowledge. My first major in college was computer science, and then I was like, whoa, this is way too deep for me, so I got out of that. But I did have an initial interest in computer programming. I was in some of the first pilot programs in my high school of learning HTML. I took other programming courses because, see, I'm in that window of my age where computers were just starting to kind of get into the classrooms when I was in middle and high school. So I was in the very first HTML programming class that my high school offered, and that taught me how to make websites. I know how to program from scratch, but of course it's changed. The programming languages are way beyond what I know now, but I did take some additional training via a website called lynda.com, and that taught me how to program CSS, do some other computer stylings. It also taught me how to use Photoshop, taught me how to use Adobe Sound Booth, which is what I edit the podcast in. So a lot of, I mean, all of it technically is somewhat self-taught outside of my high school and a little bit of college training. But for the most part, the cool thing about Y&R Chat is that it's fun and it's this geeky thing, but it also has given me some good technical skills too. Tamara says, admit it, Allie, you work for CBS. It's fun. It's shocking to me that you think that, because if I worked for CBS, I think the quality of all this would be better. If I had anybody behind me with any level of funding, then there would definitely be like intro music, outro music. Everything would look better. Everything would sound better. Y&R Chat is so bare bones because it's what I have the knowledge of and the time for. I mean, how many podcasts do you listen to where there's no intro music, there's no mattress ad, and for the YouTube videos for that matter too, how many, I mean, it's never, this, I'm going to tell you in advance, the answer is never. There are no videos on YouTube other than Y&R Chat where you can go watch the video ad free. Everybody's monetizing every single video on YouTube, and I don't. If I was funded by CBS, I probably would be forced to do something like that. But I mean, for me, at 11 hours a week, it's kind of the best I can do to sort of get everything out at the level that it's at. And I know it's not great. I know it's not perfect. It kind of is what it is. But I mean, hey, if CBS wanted to reach out, I would not be opposed to doing a project for them. But they've never contacted me. Honestly, I promise. I've never been contacted by anybody with CBS, with Y&R, ever. I don't know why. Why not, for crying out loud? Y&R Chat's pretty great. I think, anyway. Ambreen had some suggestions that I thought I'd toss out here to the group, asking if I could do HD videos for YouTube. The answer is yes, I can. I can do HD videos. My camera would record that, no problem. The hitch with it though is file size. I record the video of Y&R Chat at a very low quality. You've probably noticed. If I'm I mean, I shouldn't be that bad depending on the size of your screen, but I don't record it in high def because the file would be monstrous. 1 hour of video file in HD is, on a weekly basis, probably going to take me 6 to 8 hours, probably toward the 8-hour mark to upload. I mean, I don't have wicked fast internet service, but it's not like dial-up. I mean, it's not terrible. It's probably somewhere in the middle, but it would take probably 8 hours for me in my situation to upload that video to YouTube. But I think it's a good question, because if you guys would rather see HD videos but wait a little bit longer to get them, I could do that. I could post the videos on Sunday night if that matters to you. So I thought I would toss that out there as a question to the group. You know, just what's your preference? Would you rather have quick and dirty Y&R Chat? And keeping in mind that quick is still not quick. It takes a while. These files are big. It takes a while also to transfer the audio file for the podcast. But I think that's at a decent quality. I don't think it's really affecting much. But if you would rather, would you want to see quick and dirty, or would you rather have better quality videos? I'm totally open to that. Let me know what you guys like and want. Ambreen also says, since you subscribe to a soap mag, can you include info from there in your videos? Yeah, I thought I wanted to mention that too, because I should tell you guys I stopped subscribing to the CBS soaps in depth, and I'll tell you why. For the subscription price, which is like, it's not cheap. The magazine subscriptions they're not cheap. I think it's like I don't know, I can't remember offhand, but you know, I mean, it's not nothing. And my subscriptions never showed up on time. It got to the point where I was getting my issues a week later than the newsstand. And it's like, well, how are you going to keep your business afloat, CBS Soaps in Depth, if you're not even giving timely subscription arrivals to the people who are supporting you week after week and paying you in lump sums for the subscription? So it ticked me off enough that I'm like, what's the point? What's the point in getting this subscription when I'm not going to get it on time? It's old news. I mean, it's old news anyway with magazines. I mean, the speed at which information about casting travels, it's just as easy for me to go to the website to look it up. So I just thought that would be a good place for me to rant about that. And if I see something on the newsstand that I really, really want to have, I can always grab it. But yeah, I just had to toss that out there as a rant. And again, I'm not affiliated with CBS, and I'm not affiliated with Soaps in Depth, so I feel like I can go ahead and just say that. I just can criticize them with no repercussions. Ambreen also says, I would really enjoy seeing your picks for Y&R Emmy Awards, and you could dress up too. Maybe you could make your own Alley Award for something. I like that idea. I've thought about that, Ambreen. Every time the Emmys come out, I think, oh, I should do a Y&R Chat Awards. How cool would that be? There's just so much that I want to do. This is where I am at 10 years. It's taken me 10 years to get to this mark. And I see all those things. It is not lost on me that Y&R Chat could be so much better, that there is so much opportunity to do so many fun things. It's just that I don't have the time. I mean, every single time the Emmys roll around, I think, I want to do like a chatty or like outfits, like being able to screen cap different outfits that I like and really dig in on those fashions. And then I just hit a wall of how much time I have to contribute to Y&R on a weekly basis. It's already at 11 hours a week. I wish I had more time. You know, in some ways it would be great if CBS, you know, did reach out and want me to do some kind of extra content, because I feel like I'd be good at it. I'd love to do more cool things, but it's just where the rubber meets the road as far as time goes. Unless I quit my job and just become a full-time chatter. I don't know how feasible that is, though. Anna says, do you think you will reinstate soap giveaways and or open up the shop? Well, okay, I thought this is a good time to give a Genoa City soap update. Boy, that really is something I miss doing. I miss making soap. I still occasionally will have a chance to do lotions, but I did have to kind of close the book on Genoa City soap for a little bit. It takes 2 hours minimum to make one loaf of soap, and when I'm doing everything with Y&R Chat and with the baby, it is really scarce. I mean, finding a 2-hour block, it has to be a block, because the chemicals that I use to make the soap are caustic, and my daughter's into everything. She's just in that stage. I mean, she has to touch everything, and I can't take the risk of having her get into any of the chemicals, or the soap takes 6 weeks to cure. Where am I going to put it for 6 weeks at this point where she's not going to get it? So I think, unfortunately, I just don't have time or ability to continue to do the soap right now, and it breaks my heart because it's something I really enjoyed, and I thought it was a great tie-in, and you guys really seem to like it. But I think for now, at least until my daughter gets out of toddlerhood, I'm gonna have to just focus on what I've got. And who knows? I do sometimes kick around the idea of doing some more bonus content. It's just a matter of finding the time to do it. Laura asks, have you ever been recognized? No. I think I would be so embarrassed. If I was just walking down the street and somebody said, Allie from Y&R Chat, I think I'd die a little, because I'm kind of like, it feels dorky to me that I do Y&R Chat. Nobody knows that I do this in my life. This is secret. Just because, I mean, I don't is? It's that I feel I'm at my most genuine right here. I feel like this is the most real I ever am. I mean, it's the most true and honest I ever am, because I've got this this movie, this Y&R, this thing that's out there that all I have to do is react to it, and I put onto it my values and my thoughts, and that feels very personal and very private and very intimate in a way. It feels like I'm sharing something about who I am, and I don't do that with just everybody or anybody. You know, a lot of times. I think I'm somewhat guarded personally, and so the fact that I, you know, put myself out here for you know, once a week to say these things about the show, just it feels embarrassing to me. But, you know, I would die if I said something that offended someone, or if, you know, something was taken the wrong way. That would be so hard on me. So I think I would be like, oh God, this person knows that I used to look this way, or that I said this one thing that one time. So I think I would be a little bit nervous. But that being said, if you did happen to see me, don't feel like you can't talk to me. It would be very rare, though. The chances of it are very low. Y&R Chat's much smaller than you think it is. Laura also asked if I received an invitation to guest star on Y&R, whose storyline would I like to appear in, and what would be my role? Oh gosh, oh, that's so hard. I think I would like to guest star. And I mean, if I have to be in a room with somebody, I think I'd have to probably go Eric Braeden. I think I'd want to be in a Victor storyline. I mean, I think that would be the funnest for me. I'm really much more interested in the sets, though. You know, in my dream world, I would just get to go actually on set of Y&R and see those things, and maybe sit at the coffee house. That's as good as it could get for me. Laura also asked if I've ever met a cast member. No, I have not, but I mean, you know, you never know. Maybe in the future, maybe for the 20-year anniversary. Superplex asks, what character on the show do you most identify with? I think I've said this before, I want to say, but I'm gonna go Michael. I feel like Michael in that I'm quietly rolling my eyes at the rest of the world. That's sort of his vibe, and that's sort of my vibe. Marianne asks, which storyline drew you into Y&R to watch on a more regular basis? The funny thing about it is I started and I never stopped. The storyline that drew me in was Victor going to the farm in Kansas, 1993, and this first episode I watched was I was all in. There was no backing out from then on. I don't think I missed an episode after I watched the first episode, and I don't think I've missed an episode outside of VCR technical issues in I mean, it's probably a handful. I could probably count the number of episodes in 25 years that I've missed on one or two hands, and it was certainly never by choice. Oh no, that's how big of a dork I am. Dean says, have you noticed how much stronger and in a lot of ways more realistic the writing on Y&R has become over the last 10 years? Yeah. This is the 10th year anniversary of Y&R Chat, but it's 25 years of me watching the show. And yeah, I really have noticed that the show has been stronger as of late. And the truth is, I will always watch Y&R. But that doesn't mean that I'm always going to be in love with every era of the show. In 10 years, I have definitely felt like I was polishing up some rough storylines to try to put a positive spin on it so that we could all talk about it, knowing that someone somewhere loves this storyline, and just because I don't love it doesn't give me the right to say meh, meh, meh. So I've always tried to make sure I give equal weight to the things even that don't interest me, but I have not had to do that lately. As of late, I think the show has been good. It's been keeping me engaged, and it's been keeping fans engaged, and that's what matters to me. That you guys are loving the show too, because then we get more chat out of it. Oh, well, I think that's just about all I have time for today. She's gonna wake up from her nap. But I really appreciate you sticking with me and caring about Y&R Chat and caring about me. I do feel that. I feel that you guys are very supportive of me too, and know that that is extended out to you as well. I think we've had a good conversation going here for about the last 10 years, and I want you to know that I am looking forward to the conversation continuing to stay strong for the next 10 years and beyond.